Radio Free America. This is Uncle Sam with music and the truth until dawn. Right now, I got a few words for some of our brothers and sisters in the occupied zone. The chair is against the wall. The chair is against the wall. John has a long mustache. Dawn has a long mustache. It's 12 o'clock, Americans, another day closer to victory. And for all of you out there on or behind the lines, this is your song.
And welcome everybody to our daily gun show. We come to you live every day at 7 p.m. Eastern. That's 4 Pacific. For about an hour or 90 minutes each day. We usually do 3 gun-related topics each day with different topics throughout the week. We run it live on YouTube and simulcast it over at gunchannels.com, where we're watching the live comments that are coming in, people that are watching us while we broadcast live. When it's all over, we usually take the audio and post it over to iTunes as a podcast. We ask anyone who's listening to the show now or in the future to give us some feedback. Let us know where it is you're listening. It also helps people, or helps get the show recommended to more listeners. So we appreciate that favor. There's 4 hosts. 3 of us are here today. We've got Dano jumping in from Illinois. Thanks for joining.
Yep, glad I can make it.
Bob jumping in from Canada. Thanks for joining in.
Hey, glad to be here.
And I'm down here in Tucson. So today's Memorial Day. That's where we're starting out the show.
Yep. So those of you out there who may be younger and may not have necessarily any personal connection with the military, whether it be yourself, your friends, or your family, just a reminder that Memorial Day is an observance of the men and women that served the U.S. military that had fallen during their service during the various wars from the Revolutionary War forward. And we'll go more in about that later on, but I just want to make note of that. So Bob, what in Canada, what do they do for their, or what do they have a holiday for their fallen?
Yeah, we just do a Remembrance Day once a year.
Now, is it a national holiday up there?
Yeah.
And just out of curiosity, what month is it?
Oh, it's trying to remember now. Let's say February 11th. I think. Oh, now I feel really dumb. I just can't. It's not coming to my head.
Well, we'll come back to it a little bit later. Maybe you can check out some of the details.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, G-Webs, where are we heading from here?
Yep, well, that was great tribute to Memorial Day. So I guess we'll dig into the show where on Mondays we dig into what's going on this week. So this week we'll start in episode 321 here. We'll do a bit of we'll do what we do, and then we'll move into gun tech, and we'll talk about guns and law enforcement for a bit today. We'll do some of the normal stuff we do on a daily basis. Tomorrow will be Tuesday, episode 322, and we'll talk about Second Amendment. We'll just do a Second Amendment update. We'll talk about a good idea, bad idea segment, in which case we'll debate turning in guns to the police, although I can't imagine anybody thinks that's a good idea. We might have to designate someone to be the devil's idea or devil's position or something. Then on Wednesdays, we used to do the tactical, then it's Wednesday. So then we have the CCW topic, the online training for CCW is the topic this week. And then in our entertainment segment, guns on a vehicle in a movie. What? I thought we did that last week. Oh, you know what?
Jumbled out of order again?
No, did we move it last week because of something? I think it might have been something last week, so we moved it down.
Oh, by the way, it's November 11th, not February 11th.
That you guys, Memorial Day? Do you have 3 days like an armed force? We have Armed Forces Day for people that are in the military. Then we got Veterans Day for people who have been in the military but are no longer in the military but are still alive. And then we have Memorial Day, which is the day where we remember the people who paid the ultimate price.
No, we really just have a Remembrance Day, and that's just a day to remember all the veterans, especially the ones who've fallen.
So then we'll have to look and see. Maybe we'll switch that entertainment topic up if we already have talked about that. And then we still have to come up with something if we're going to keep doing the tactical quiz on Wednesdays or something else. Then Thursday we'll do the gun stuff, which will be CNR FFLs, about getting those. We have a couple people on gun channels right now that have CNRs. Maybe we could talk one of them into joining us and giving us some hands-on information about that. And then training, best knee pads for a class. I'm assuming we can extrapolate a little bit out from knee pads and talk about support gear. And then Thursday looks like it'll be our gun channel story time. We'll talk about On the Water. You guys remember On the Water? No?
Nope.
Right, so that was another one of our things that gave some of us a little chuckle when we say it. And then let's see. That was there. Then we'll go on to Friday, which will be our alternative gun topic. England guns. I don't know why that got in there, but we're talking about England guns. And then for the gun business, we're talking about sending off your guns for custom work. A couple of people have done that recently, so again, we can probably get some first-hand experience on that one. At the end of the week, we usually wrap up what we talked about all week, and we can look forward to that. So, of course, every single day we try to hit a gun shop each day. We do have the potential for a tactical pop quiz at any time, and things like the movie of the day and the gun of the day and things like that. So talking about gun movies, we try to hit a gun movie every day. I like to talk about them on Mondays too, so people that might want to check them out ahead of time and be able to be in on the conversation about what we're talking about. We have today Killer Elite. Probably a little too late to watch that one since we'll be talking about it soon. Tomorrow, though, will be The Evil That Men Do. And then Wednesday is Appaloosa. Then Thursday is that one that got shifted, Bad Girls. And then I think we'll just take the Banditas one and make that Friday. So then Friday it's Banditas. So a couple of girl movies. Movies where girls are the main heroes. And then Appaloosa, I think, is a horse movie. And I don't know what the Evil Men Do is. And I don't know what Killer Elite is, I don't think. So we'll take a look at those. And if you've got ideas for gun movies, we're going to need some because that was the last we had from a bunch that Z put in there. And coming up soon, we'll be needing some more ideas for gun movies. So that's what we got this week. What do you guys think?
Yeah, sounds good. Appaloosa I've seen. I don't know the other ones I might have to check out.
Yeah, not seen those movies. But then again, I'm always the weak link when it comes to the movie category.
Or the missing link, maybe.
Maybe the missing link. Could be. You never know.
Well, we're definitely low on viewers today. Probably people out doing their holiday thing, not on their normal routine.
I assume this is, just like this show is we're not going to get a whole lot of viewers today, and that's certainly fine. I'd much rather have somebody out there paying honor to the people that truly deserve it rather than necessarily listening to the show. But then again, if you've already done that, then by all means, join in. But yeah, this is not going to be one of our high viewership days, or listener days.
Are they ever?
Yeah, that kind of implies that there are high viewership days.
Yeah.
But I guess we'll dig in then. So kind of look at the week. We'll start digging into the next segment, which is supposed to be how to use social media. But we had put in here talking to, well, the topic was a guy, and these guys don't know who he is, and I don't think I've ever actually met him. I've talked to him a couple of times on the internet, but I think we'll wait and see if we can't just either schedule the guy on or find out more about him before we use him as something to talk about. We've done that before, and it just seems stupid to put it in the schedule. So we'll change the schedule a little bit.
I do have something that, maybe a little bit later or right now, it doesn't matter. I do want to talk about, and that's a little bit about the Medal of Honor, what it is.
Okay, so that's, I'm going to suggest we'll just dig right into that, and we'll call this the first segment over. So that means we'll take a moment to feature one of the members over at Gun Channels. We do this every day between the first and second segment of our show. Gun Channels is a place we built a while back, a community focused on firearms, completely membership driven. With that in mind, we feature a member every day, and I don't know if we got a theme this week or not. Kind of a theme. So today it's Rick. Rick was hosting one of the shows earlier today. He's from Rhode Island and new to Gun Channels, but definitely fitting right in and hosting some of the live stuff, posting a lot of like a daily, not a daily, but a periodic video that he's doing off of YouTube on his YouTube channel, and then hosting the Saturday shows, doing a weekly show on Saturdays.
Life as I See It, I believe it's named.
Yep.
So want to head off into the Medal of Honor?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. Where I'm getting this, in case there are any mistakes or whatever, please go ahead and put it in the comment if something is incorrect, is off of Wikipedia. They do have a reasonably concise explanation. But I'm going to go ahead and read you just a couple of paragraphs here in regards to the Medal of Honor. It was created during the American Civil War and is the highest military decoration presented by the United States government to a member of its armed forces. The recipient must have distinguished themselves at the risk of their own life and beyond the call of duty in action against an enemy of the United States. Due to the nature of this medal, it is commonly presented posthumously, which means after they've passed. And again, that's the nature of winning it. The President of the United States, in the name of the United States Congress, has awarded more than 3,500 medals of honor, including 19 second awards to the nation's soldiers, sailors, airmen, Marines, and Coast Guardsmen since the decoration's creation in 1861. Citations highlighting acts of gallantry that received the Medal of Honor have been and continue to be regularly released by book publishers. After the Second World War, both the Army and Navy produced hardbound Medal of Honor compilations. Between 1964 and 1979, the United States Senate Subcommittee on Veteran Affairs of the Committee on Labor and Public Welfare, and later the Committee on Veterans Affairs, produced a number of consolidated compilations of all Medal of Honor citations to date. Additions and changes to the list of the recipients of the medal since 1979 have been regularly published by the Congressional Research Service. So you can look up, and they have a list on the Wikipedia of every winner of the Medal of Honor. And that, to me, is, you know, there are many people that have died and deserve our honor, but that kind of, there are definitely, you know, in this example, there's 3,500 medals, which tells me that there's 3,500 stories that have not necessarily been told. And we know the number is much greater than that, because not everybody necessarily is recognized for what they have done. So we know that there are far more than that number of stories out there that have yet to be heard or have been lost to the, as they call, the annals of time. So it's something that, you know, we try to take a day every year to recognize the sacrifices that our men and women have taken, and that and try not to, at least I you know, personally, I try to take this as a day that I try to not or try to recognize that freedom isn't necessarily free. Freedom has a price, and it must be maintained. And these are simply examples of the Medal of Honor of people that have paid the ultimate price that we know of. And again, that's why I say I know there are far more than 3,500 stories out there. There are probably tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of stories. I would not be surprised if you go back to the beginning of this country and the men and women that have fought and fallen in support of our freedom that we enjoy now. You know, we have the richest poor people on earth. I'm not trying to get off topic. I'm just trying to say, as far as how much freedom has been brought to this country, how much riches and wealth has been brought to this country by the sacrifices of the people of the country. And that is a byproduct of freedom. And I'm grateful to all of them for that. And that is the Medal of Honor recipients Giustino version.
Yeah, that's an interesting book. I remember back when I was a kid, there weren't very many gun books in the library, and even if there were, they were stupid gun books, so they weren't anything worth reading or hold your interest more than 5 seconds or any interest at all. They were a lot of times just picture books. Anyway, so in the library, when we would have like, I don't know, projects, they'd make you go to the library and do stuff and use the library or whatever. Was one of my go-tos. Whenever I could, I would just grab that book. And like you said, there's a bound version basically of the, what do they call it? The accumulation of all the stories.
Right.
And super interesting to read, to get, well, to, for a Medal of Honor to be given to you, you have to have, I think what the requirements are, you have to say, risk your life to save others or something like that. But when you talk about all those stories, the fact that you're given a life, there are a lot of times there isn't much story. A lot of times, a lot of people would say it's futile because, you know, on a boat and a torpedo hits it and just too many people are no longer alive. There's those kind of things where there was no valiant, you know, story to be written. It was just, you know, part of the horribleness of a war or whatever. And that's what I like to think of when we're talking about Memorial Day also, is to not just the heroes. Heroes are definitely great and everything, but there's a heck of a lot of people that sacrifice that.
Oh, absolutely. You have your, you know, your Purple Heart winners, and it's not just people who received awards either. It's a lot of them. There's thousands of people who have not received any recognition who deserve our honor.
Did you guys live in a place where there's a parade? I don't know if there was a parade here or not, but if it was downtown somewhere.
Yeah, the parade in my town is like one house away from where I live. Goes right by.
They do a parade today?
Yep. Had the local marching band go by and fire trucks and police and other, you know, the local veteran organizations. Some of the older ones, some of the newer ones, some of the ones that are war specific, like the Vietnam organizations.
And less of clowns and people throwing around shit, more of a display of respect and honor, and basically a movement of the colors by each of the different units, or like your National Guard, your Scouts, your other civic organizations the kids are in, and then probably adult civic organizations too, for that matter. Anybody who wants to show their respect, right? And then they'll just sort of walk down with, like you say, some music, and then they're not playing the celebratory stuff, I'm guessing, as much as the patriotic stuff.
Right, and typically the politicians tend to go more towards 4th of July, where they're throwing candy out to the kids and stuff like that. This is different. So they respectfully, you know, don't participate in this sort of parade, so to speak, or honorable service.
Yeah.
I live in a small town, and we do have a veterans memorial at our local cemetery. And they start at the local high school, and they march through town, and they end up at the local cemetery, where they do the display of colors and so forth.
I grew up in towns where they'll have stuff like that at and they don't do that here. If they do, like say it's downtown somewhere, and it's pretty small scale compared to the other parades. All right, well, so I guess that'll take us into another just kind of regular segment of the show then, the gun tech segment. Are you here for the whole day, Dan, or are you taking off?
I'll probably be here for the whole thing.
So do gun tech, or do you guys want to jump into something else?
What's your pleasure?
Well, I guess we'll jump into gun tech. So today on our technology segment of the show this week, we're going to talk about guns in law enforcement. So might have had a chance to potentially today. This would be the kind of day. Although it's not going to be there like, let's bring out all the SWAT vehicles, as much as let's just walk in formation and like, display the colors or something. Yeah,
the police department had, they were out carrying the flags, as well as they had one of their vehicles, but they weren't bringing, you know, there wasn't like the county MRAP was not there.
Right. All right, so let's talk about law enforcement guns then. They shouldn't even have them, right? Should that be the goal? Get to the point where they don't even have them.
Well, I guess if we lived in a perfect world where we could just check a box and there would be no violence between people, I suppose, but we'll never live in that world. There will never be such a world.
Well, even in that world, though, can you also check that magical box and say no violence of rabid animals against humans? Or like no balloons carrying away a child? You know, people put a whole bunch of helium balloons on a chair, put the child down in the chair thinking that gravity doesn't happen or that gravity will protect them, and then all that helium takes the baby away. It probably happens multiple times every year. But luckily, police are around, they shoot the balloons out, the baby comes back down.
There you go.
But seriously, the animals or whatever, you know, that's a legitimate use for a firearm. Putting down a horse or something. I mean, every once in a while, somebody needs a gun around for an actual thing that's not violence. And I would imagine those people think unless they're going to give them to firemen. But
well, I guess I just think of it just simply as a tool. And it's a tool that its end use can be varied. I'm sure G-Webs will be back in just a moment. Its end use may be varied, whether it's, you know, a horse that's rabid that needs to be put down, or whether it's someone who for some reason is their life has gone astray, and they need their drug money and they're willing to do anything to get it.
Horses don't generally get rabies, but
well, I was just using that as an example as an animal.
yes, usually we have to put a horse down because it's broke a leg or something.
Right. So yeah, G-Webs, you were gone for just a moment. I was just talking in regards to the firearm is really just a tool, and that its end use, whether it be to put an animal down that's rabid, or a drug user that's just got to get his drug and is willing to do anything to get it. It's just simply a tool defined by its end use. But in the end, it's simply a tool.
all right, so I don't know, where are we going with tools and guns? I was just trying to get the conversation started there.
Right.
Or cops and guns, tools and guns.
It can sometimes be the same thing, but sometimes, occasionally.
Do you? This is, I guess, more of a feeling, or what do you think? Kind of a question. Do you think there's still departments in the U.S. that are still carrying as their main duty gun a revolver?
I'll bet you there are. I can think of a couple of places, like your little old fishing town or hunting town, or even nothing town in the middle of nowhere, right? They could probably be like, nobody even comes here. What do we need revolvers for? Or what do we need anything more than revolvers for? Like volunteer police, maybe? Something like that, where it just gets handed down and is almost official, or it's just for official business. It's like you don't even ever need the person, right? And then I could see it also in little quaint places where they think the perception would be better because they make their police dress up like little costumes, you know, so they look good in the town. Mm-hmm. Like a fancy ski town or a boat town or some kind of fancy town, like a tourist town. Those are the two I could think of.
Yep. Yeah, I guess until what I'll call, you know, because my generation was kind of like the transition generation between old school revolvers and new school Palmer Wonders. That, you know, if someone my age, you know, going back when I was, you know, 21 years old, was going to the academy where I lived, they most likely, you know, depending on which department they had, would have been a 50-50, whether they would have gotten a revolver or whether they would have been given some sort of semi-automatic loader. But it was during that transition.
Here's the thing. They're all at the whim of lawyers and accountants or whatever's people running those purse strings. So the revolvers cost more to make, period. They just are more expensive machines, right? So that's always going to be an issue. because Glocks cost $75 off the production line. They can literally give them to the police like they did. So that's one issue. But then they're also run by lawyers. So probably for a little while in the beginning there, it was hard to explain why they were switching to pistols at all, and then let alone these new pistols. But now that almost every single cop is using Glocks or some version of a Glock or some copy of a Glock, then somebody going intentionally back to revolvers, I would think would almost be tough, because then they would, every time they used one, the other side could say, why did they decide to go backwards in time and use these old revolvers, which are unprecedented? No one does that. Like, why would they start using it? You know, it would be like contrary to everybody else's preferred thing at this point. It's like the tables have turned, and now they'd be they'd be doing it intentionally, and that would be scrutiny. And I think they would not do it just because it would give them that flaw or that weakness.
Yeah, I definitely see your point there, and I can't put up a counter argument against that. You know, especially since that normally, with the exceptions that you noted, I only see those or hear about them, I should say, being used as kind of a backup gun situation. Which, because it is physically a different shape and everybody's body is a little bit different, some officers may prefer that as a backup because it's more comfortable, it fits their body better, whatever.
A revolver?
Yes.
It's interesting. I don't know if what I was going to say, I don't know if there's even any departments, because some departments will say, the gun's up to you, or you have your choice of these or something. Source your own, or you can get these couple from our armory. I wonder if any of them have revolver on the list anymore. I wonder if there's a way to figure that out. I guess we could try Googling it.
Yeah. I don't know how, short of what you just said, any way of really trying to find out that's that information.
Yeah, but I can still see like lots of little, small towns with a small sheriff's department. They're going to be using the same guns they were using in the 50s. The gun hasn't worn out. In most cases, like a place like that, they wouldn't. So I could still see them using.
Oh, so I typed that into the internet and I found a Smith & Wesson forum, and somebody asked that question in 2011. Got a bunch of responses. One of the first one says the officers they know can qualify with one. There's no prohibition. They have to qualify with it every year. Another one says you can use a model 19.6 if I'm not carrying a Glock as an investigator. Another one says that they can carry the no prohibition against revolvers as a backup as long as they qualify again. Issued a Model 38 airweight as a backup for my off-duty gun. So it looks like some are issued lightweight revolvers for backup or off-duty guns.
I do have a little site I just pulled up here, searching for police guns, just a list of the most common police sidearms, or firearms, I should say, excuse me, that police are issued in. I guess kind of as expected, Glock 19 is what they have as first, followed by the Glock 22, followed by the Smith & Wesson M&P 9, followed by the Beretta Model 92, followed by the SIG P226, followed by the H&K 45, followed by the Luger LC9, which I'm a little bit surprised at, then followed by the Colt M1911, and then finally the Remington 870 shotgun and the Colt M4 carbine.
That list must be wrong. 1911.
1911 was like last on the list, but last out of like 6 different firearms. This is criminaljusticedegree.com. Popular guns for law enforcement. Let's see if they have any.
Well, it makes me think that if there's law enforcement trade-ins on Glocks and stuff, are there law enforcement trade-ins on revolvers? I don't see those very often. And I wonder if they ever shoot that little revolver very much. It's probably got a lot of carry wear on it, but I suspect, except for qualifications and stuff, probably got some life in it. Unless they just
interesting question. You're right. I never thought about that. How we never see any police trade-ins of where are all these revolvers?
maybe they just figured it's kind of worn out anyway. Just retire with it, carry it around when you're retired.
Exactly. I know my uncle, who was a police officer and retired from the police department as chief. He retired with his service arm, which was a little snubby chief special. So I wonder if that's how a lot of them end up going out. And it's a way that the department doesn't have to deal with some old gun that they have to now dispose of. One way.
They really must, because otherwise we'd see them at least once in a while on the market. I don't know, maybe Smith takes them back and refurbishes and just sells them as factory refurbished or something.
I remember back in the day when we used to be able to buy a short-barreled revolvers, we used to find lots of Chief Specials, and they'd be surplused from places like Pakistan and India, you know, and they'd have these Chief Specials you could pick up for dirt cheap. And basically all they had was holster wear, like hadn't even been fired. It was just something for an officer to carry.
Made in Pakistan or just carried in Pakistan?
Just carried in Pakistan. They were Smith and Wessons. They were you know, just a standard Smith and Wesson Chief Special.
Smith and Wesson, but there was like 3 S's in Wesson.
No, no, they're just a standard Smith. But like I say, it was probably just, you know, they'd get them, order them for military, you know, maybe for general staff or whatever. And then when they replaced them, they just sold them all as surplus. You used to be able to get all kinds of interesting stuff like that here, but not anymore.
Yeah, Angry is saying out in the text chat that he used to occasionally see used police revolvers out on Southern Ohio Guns website.
Was that coming from somebody, like a company that was getting them, or just as individuals they were moving each one?
I guess it was very miscellaneous departments would, you know, get rid of their revolvers, much like, you know, they do with the Glocks today. They go from one caliber to another, so they trade them in and get something else.
Could be a regional thing too. If they're getting rid of them locally, they probably have no trouble selling them, so they never get to a big national market.
Right. He says about 6 months ago they had Model 10s with bobbed hammers, or without bobbed hammers, excuse me. And did not have the department in the ad. And I'm assuming that, yeah, there's going to be variation from department to department, because some departments will put, you know, property of XYZ town on the firearm and some won't.
Well, and I guess it's always possible that some place has in their armory dozens and dozens of guns from the 70s or something, and they just decide at some point, let's get rid of these. I can't remember somebody getting a Model 10 anymore. It's a big, medium-sized gun. It's never going to carry concealed. Right?
But, you know, if you have a smaller department, let's say you have 40 of these, you know, in 2 boxes, you know, it really doesn't take up all that much room just to say, well, we'll just put it over here in this corner. It'll be on it'll be on an inventory sheet, but we'll just kind of pretend it's not there, out of sight, out of mind. Rather than having to find someone to buy all 40 of them.
All right, well, I'm going to suggest let's keep moving along then to another topic today. Since we just solved guns and law enforcement, it's probably a lot of things we could talk about there. We didn't even talk about less lethal or stun guns or tasers or nothing like that, or any of their shotguns, really. They probably still use shotguns occasionally. Then they have long guns too. So kind of ended up talking about pistols a bunch. Maybe we can talk about that in the future. Give us some feedback. We have an email. It's dailygunshow@gmail.com. You can contact us there. Lots of people do. We appreciate that. It gives us like a permanent piece of feedback, you know, that we can go in there and address and move over to the show schedule if we need to, or edit something or whatever needs to be done. So appreciate that. A lot of people send in questions and answers, sometimes with the links to the answer if necessary for the to help Dano out with the tactical pop quizzes. People have been sending in gun shops today. That definitely helps. We do like to feature a new gun shop every single day. With that in mind, we'll move on to.
Let's move on to something else. Just a moment. I got something here. Let me scratch it. That's right. It's time for the Memorial Day Tactical Pop Quiz of the day. I know you're shocked, but it's time for the Tactical Pop Quiz. Today I have G. Webbs as my officiating assistant. And those of you over on YouTube, those of you over on Gun Channels, put your cursor down in the text box, loosen up your fingers. G. Webbs, have you seen the answer? And more importantly, well, I guess that's the most important thing, have you seen the answer?
Yes.
All right. And this is a two-part answer. Make sure you put both parts in the same line. And when describing what was the Russian NRS-2? What was the Russian NRS-2?
No answers. No answers. No answers.
Now maybe this is a reflection of the viewership today. It's not a cigarette lighter, but good job, good try.
It's not a scout rifle.
Okay, we do have a winner over on the Gun Channel side, Arctic. You are correct. It is indeed a scout rifle with a built-in single-shot pistol, typically in 7.62 by 42 cartridge.
No. Say that again.
It is a scout knife with a built-in single-shot pistol.
Yeah, the first time you said scout rifle, that wouldn't have been all that impressive for a scout rifle to have a built-in gun in it.
And I probably did say that, but it would not be correct. Once again, let me go back to the Gun Channel side. That was Arctic, I believe, with the correct answer. So Arctic, I'm sure you know what to do, but just as a reminder, head on over to dailygunshow.com/popquiz. Fill out the form, put your first and second choice. And I'm sorry, there is no Smeggy and there is no Z, so you'll have to deal with me. Congratulations to Arctic. You are today's hot shot for today. Congratulations, Arctic.
Way to go, man.
And yes, that's the best I can do.
So since we're talking about the NRS-2, did you pick that one for any reason today?
No. It was just a lot of times when I'm listening to chats or something like that, I'll hear something that might be, that might be something I'll check into. What is that? And I'll say, well, then it might make a great question. So I'll throw it into the bin, so to speak.
So that came up recently or a long time ago?
I'd say probably in the last 2 months.
Okay, because that's I'm screen sharing now. That's this thing here. It's a knife, right? So it's basically just a knife.
Yes.
But it's in this scabbard, and you'd wear it on, like, I guess, your leg or something with this contraption. Anyhow, it's a knife. It's got a wire cutter in the scabbard like that, and somewhere in here, I thought there was pictures. Well, there's not. There's a one bullet pointing out away from the blade, so it doesn't shoot over the blade. It shoots away. So you wouldn't necessarily have the blade out. You could have it in its scabbard and then shoot it, and it shoots one projectile out. It's a 7.62 by what, 22 or something, 25. Shoots a little weird looking projectile out, but it's, I guess the idea is to have that extra round and a useful knife. So it's basically a lot like an AK bayonet. The scabbard for sure is like an AK bayonet, but since it's not a bayonet and there's not a hole in the blade to do the wire cutter, they just made it into a pair of pliers basically. So it's like a wire cutter, but just literally the scabbard itself is.
If you
So-
can click on my picture, my thumbnail for a moment. I have a picture of what the chamber cartridge looks like. It goes into the handle of the grip of the knife. I don't know if you all can see that or not.
Yeah, it's like the smallest picture ever of it, but yeah.
Yeah, well, it's the one I had available, so.
Yeah. So anyway, that's a pretty cool thing. It's also cool because it's made out of green Bakelite, which you don't see very often. And what's also cool is that there was one for sale on eBay a while back, and I bought it because I'm a big bayonet collector, or I had been. I started selling off the bayonet, so I just posted a link to the Gear website store, wherever that link was. And I will go to here, I guess, to get the link. Thought I posted the link to it. Maybe it was on Gun Channels. And I got mine for sale. So if anybody wants to buy a piece of green Bakelite, then I got a piece for sale.
Excellent.
I just posted that today. So anyway, yeah, it's kind of cool. It is neat to think about that they had a knife with a bullet in it. I think that's kind of cool. That was for their, not really their police, I guess, so it doesn't really fit with our other topic, but kind of neat. They weren't like issued to everybody, but
What was it? A certain type of a specialized unit that typically got those, or?
The
oh, I have
Spinats, Special Forces?
no idea. I don't even know if there's a lot of them. It could have just been like, you know, spy level.
Right. Almost spy tools. But I was going to ask, have you ever fired it, yours?
No, I have a scabbard, not the knife gun. That would be an AOW in this country, and there's only like 3 in this country that I'm aware of.
Okay. So you have the scabbard, not the knife.
Correct.
Okay. All right, and that is today's Tactical Pop Quiz. What do we want to do next?
Oh, I was going to go into something, and then I got sidetracked. So now I'm going to go find a gun shop of the day. We've got a couple of them coming in an email. So it looks like Pink Panther sent this one in. It's called Excalibur Outdoors. I'm assuming you guys never heard of it.
Nope.
No, I don't think so.
Boom. There's that, and then I will try to. Oh, I guess I have to open it up like this. Screen share again. There we go. Right.
Yep, I see it.
All right. Open it up all the way. Does that get any bigger? It like won't get bigger.
It doesn't want to get bigger. Okay.
So we got some stuff here. Looks like they got like just tannerite bottles maybe.
Up front, it looks like it. Yeah.
Well, that's kind of interesting. I don't think I've ever seen anybody put real tight shelves like that for their rifles. Have the boxes with them. That's kind of cool.
It's definitely a different way of doing it. You could also see them rather than when they're in the vertical racks. A lot of times they're packed so closely it's hard to see what they actually have.
Yeah. This would be a little
long
tougher
guns out.
some of these, right? Might be tough to get this one. I don't know how high that shelf is. Kind of neat though. What's this thing? Vietnam? Oh, it's some kind of Vietnam thing. Oh, look, you can enhance real easy on this Google. This Google email is pretty good. It's Google electronic mail. It's pretty good. I figured out how to zoom. Got drawers down here. It's kind of an efficient way to run the store, I suppose. It didn't seem like it was all that big, I guess. Now we can go back over here and zoom in a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, it looks like a fairly small store.
Yeah. CCI Stingers, $10. Pretty sure that means 500 round brick. That's a good deal.
I doubt that's 500 rounds for $10.
Maybe not.
Maybe 100 rounds.
So it looks like it's even further down. So that's that little Vietnam flag. This is still the front. See, we're looking at the front there. It's a pretty long store.
Yeah.
Then there's still something. Oh, okay. Let's see, still something going on over here. That's those holsters and stuff. Yeah, then guns all the way back down this side. Oh, there was those guns over there.
Yeah. They got the black guns next to it, and next to that they have some more vertically stacked long guns.
It's got a nice piece of wood with antlers. Or I think the antlers are just sitting there. Pretty decent selection. These look like air guns. Or at least that one is.
Have you seen an actual gun shop carry airsoft guns?
Airsoft? Occasionally. A lot of times it'll be surplus stores. But out here we actually have stores that are just airsoft.
Right.
Yeah, our local Cabela's carries airsoft and all kinds of shit as well.
So it looks like full service. That was the shop. It's in Circleville, Ohio. And they're on Facebook.
Cool.
So we like to mention a gun shop every single day. Thanks to Pink. We did a new one today. That would be our goal. We got, 200 or so days every year. And that's an opportunity for 200 and something gun shops to get the word out about. And what's going on with my screen here? I lost half my stuff. There we go. So thanks again to Pink for sending that in. We talked about the email before, dailygunshow@gmail.com. Anybody can use that to send in suggestions for gun shops or to help Dan out with questions of the day or anything else, really. If we go into a subject and we miss something interesting or important, feel free to let us know. So we're happy to readdress the topic once in a while.
I'll go over and do tactical tidbits.
Why don't you do tactical tidbits? That's perfect because I got an old dog here that I can't hear and I can't see. So that usually means something bad's happening. So I'll be back.
All right, you go check out that old dog. I'll try to take care of Bob. Bob, you want to get your laugh out?
Yep, it's laughing.
Okay. All right, just do a quick little review. Last show we did number 9. These are all from Tactical Response Gunfighting Rules. Nearly every gunfight, you will have more people you don't want to shoot than people you do. That was number 9. Today, number 10. Someday, someone may kill you with your own gun, but they should have to beat you to death with it because it is empty. And that has to do with standing up for yourself and don't be a lamb to the slaughter. Don't just walk in unprepared and let somebody just lay down your life for somebody. You fight for your life. You fight for someone else's life. It's the most valuable thing you possess.
Yeah, and it's also saying, don't worry about wasting ammo in a life and death situation.
Yeah. You continue to fire until the threat is no longer a threat. Now, whether that means they ran away or whether that means they're incapacitated, it doesn't matter. They're no longer a threat. That's what matters. That's when you stop shooting. So, and that is Tactical Tidbits for today, and that was number 10 of the gunfighting rules. So with that, go ahead and I'm going to check any comments from the outside chat.
Yeah, anything going on?
Don't see anything on the gun channel side. I don't even have. I don't have the YouTube window open at the moment. Bob, do you?
No. If I try to open an extra window, my internet just shuts down.
Okay, no problem.
I'm slow speed internet now. I used up all my high speed stuff.
Oh, gotcha. Well, you're sounding pretty good today.
Yeah, they've done a lot of improvements on this on the phone service here lately.
I mean, is your audio? I guess as long as you don't do any video part, you should be fine.
Yeah.
See, now I'm over at looking at the YouTube side. Yes, no Matt tonight. So for those of you wondering if Never Enough Ammo is going to be on tonight, he is doing, I'm sure, family things, being a holiday weekend. So
did he tell you
he will be enjoying that.
Did he post it somewhere?
No, I just saw what I was reading a comment. The fact it was from you.
Oh.
I thought that's what you typed.
Yeah, I did. I just got a text from Matt. He says he's recovering. I think he doesn't want to say it publicly, but he's transitioning. First round of hospitalization for that. He's keeping it, quiet. So, but he said no.
Probably can't sit in his chair for any amount of time. Yeah.
Right. He's sitting on this weird, like, bicycle seat looking thing. So. All right. Well, so that's an opportunity for someone, since we might as well transition into gun channels today. So that means that tonight will be Hawaii Volcano Squad doing the Locked and Loaded, right? Show.
Yep.
Normally he waits for Matt, or he at least runs his show towards the end of Matt's show, and maybe he'll do his a little bit earlier. I don't know. I haven't heard anything. I saw him in our chat a little bit earlier ago, so I'm not sure if he's still there or not. He said said something about eating tacos or something. So,
but he did put up one of those pre-show notices that he's going to be putting one on tonight, so he'll be there.
Oh, okay. So I don't know if he'll adjust his schedule, but it's an opportunity for somebody else who might be wondering what would happen if I had my show on during one of the prime time slots. So if you want to throw a show up tonight and take a slot that Matt typically has, well, I don't know, I've seen that show easily have 100, almost always at least 100, and I've seen it have a lot more than that. So if you want to put in a show at a time when Matt's created a nice sweet spot for you, you can consider running a show tonight. It's last minute, but those are the best shows sometimes. Otherwise, We Like Shooting is on Mondays. They usually post the show over on Gun Channel still. And I guess that's about it. And then we'll be back here tomorrow, same time, 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 Pacific. Usually in the mornings, though. Somebody is running a long format early show. Either, Jimmy James got internet back this weekend, so I'm not sure if that meant to be able to do shows again or not. But if he's not doing the early watch, then we'll see sometimes Night Strike. If he's able to, we'll have Good Morning, I don't know what he calls his, Morning Strike or something. And then, or the AM Strike. And then Sean will sometimes run a Good Morning Gun Channels. So you got a potential for long format chat tomorrow morning. So Matt didn't think I was going to tell people that he was transitioning, but I went ahead and did.
There you go.
All right, so
You gonna do the myth?
gun myth. Is that today?
It's on the schedule.
Yeah, let's do it. So we're trying to do a gun myth every week, and today's myth is gun zones make us safer. This is just true, right?
I want you to say the title of this section 3 times fast.
Myth of the week. Myth of the week. Myth of the week. So anyway, the myth that gun zones make us safer, that is a myth. Gun zones do make us safer. I think if we would put in there no gun zones, we might have more of a debate.
Ah, you tricky dog.
So
I see what you
we either typoed or something. We copied and pasted poorly, but yeah, I'm assuming this means no gun zones make us safer. We know that's one, but I think we probably wish we had Smeggy in here, because he would take this more seriously than us and give it more, give it more of the respect it's due. But that's not an insignificant debate topic. People see a gun-free zone, I guess, and I'm assuming on face value they think, hey, this is a great idea. Why would you be against it? And we got to look like we're pro carnage or pro terrorist or pro bad guy somehow.
I mean, for the sake of discussion, I could attempt, and that's the best I could do is attempt to play the role of the other side.
Well, it really isn't just a no gun zone, just a target-rich environment for somebody who's a criminal.
But they're trying to create places that people are already vulnerable there in a physically weakened condition for various reasons. And the last thing that someone like that needs is to feel unsafe, and that's what firearms represents to them. Is danger.
Yeah, it certainly makes the makes the criminal feel a lot safer, I'm sure.
No, it doesn't make the patient feel safer, and it's all about the patient and their mental mindset and physically and emotionally getting better, healing. And firearms are not conducive to a peaceful atmosphere.
Oh, they just need puppies and hot chocolate.
They represent the opposite of what the philosophy of the medical establishment represents, which is peace and harmony and health through healing. How am I doing?
You haven't convinced me.
I was wrangling a little dog. Were you trying to play the pro side of this one?
Yeah, I was doing my best to try to do the as if I'm actually for no gun zones.
Well, I think the for no gun zones, I didn't hear all you said, but did you include they're like convinced that by carrying around guns, you clods who carry guns around who have these like delusions of grandeur, you're going to drop that thing and be showing it off, no doubt, polishing it or whatever the hell weird things you do to masturbate to it. You're going to be doing all that. You're going to drop it and a kid's going to be hurt. You don't care.
And the understanding, my understanding is an anti, is that if I fully envelop myself in signs, that there is no way anyone would violate the law because it's illegal to bring a gun in here. Therefore it's going to be a safe place for sick people to be. Because no one will bring guns in because it's against the law. Right?
Well, that's their theory that they're working on. Of course, that doesn't work unless you pile up enough signs that you've actually made a bullet barrier.
But we still need to recognize, whether we agree with it or not, what is their belief system.
Yeah, but these are the same people who believe that if we just didn't insult Islam, they would quit blowing themselves and their children up.
Well, that is another subject. And I'm not saying it's not worthy of discussion. It's just that's not the myth for today.
Mindset. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. Today's myth is gun zones make us safer.
Well, gun zones do make us safer. It's no gun zones that make us unsafe.
Right. Well, I think being in an echo chamber is to our detriment because then we just are convinced that we've ensured that we're correct and then we're satisfied and we don't learn from it. So since we're not just doing the show to pat ourselves on the back or to give people an echo chamber, you can go get that anywhere. What do we do to get this segment or this particular concept better? I guess scrutiny or whatever, better attention or better, give it more attention.
It almost seems
that I'm trying to write all this down.
That you have to get people while they're young and still have somewhat of an open mind, because it just seems that more often than not, by the time I embrace someone in a discussion that's either numerically an adult or close to it, that their mind may already be set, and all they're looking for is they'll discuss it, but what they're really doing is justifying their belief system. They're not willing to discuss it at all. They're just justifying why they feel the way they feel.
Well, I got something that came to mind.
Getting to kids when they're young, i.e., less than 10, and when they're in their early teens is critical.
All right, so how do you get to that? Would be great, because if you could get to the kids, right, and then you could let them know the deal so that now every time they see one of those every time they'd see one of those guns-free zones, then they would be reminded of whatever it was clever thing that made them think, oh, this is foolish, like they're trying to BS me. So that makes me think, did those Penn and Teller guys ever do one of them BS shows about gun-free zones? Because they should have. I know they did it on like recycling and other stuff. And the recycling one made a lot of people I know who listened to that show when it was on. You know the show I'm talking about?
Yeah, I believe so. Yes.
Different things. I don't think it's on anymore, but it used to be on. And I'm wondering if there's them or somebody like that has done one on gun-free zones. Or I guess on the other side, has there been like a Bill Guy, the science guy, teaches you why science says there should be gun-free zones? Anyway, if there's something like that that we could refer to, because that might be a simple way to have someone else who have already created an effective message that would absorb to the kids, then just point at that all the time, so that give it as much coverage as possible. Like if we were anti recycling, we would be pointing at that Penn and Teller show all the time, because 7 minutes or however long it was, they talk about what a scam recycling is at a city level.
Yeah, I know what you mean, and I can't remember if they've done something jointly on firearms. I know I've heard it's Penn's the one who talks, right?
Yeah, Teller's the guy that only talked in a couple of movies.
Yeah. I know Penn. I've heard him on firearms in the past, but I don't think it was jointly done together.
I'm pretty sure they're pro-gun. I'm
sorry, say again?
I'm pretty sure they're pro-gun.
Yes, that was definitely my impression. But I think of when I get them young, of a program that may not have been successful, but it underscores the importance of getting people why they have open minds, and that's the Eddie Eagle program that the NRA had done in the past. Now I don't know if they're still doing it or not, but it may have been kind of silly, but then again, it's aimed at children.
Yeah, Eddie Eagle is definitely aimed at little kids.
Yeah, but you have to start young, and you have to present an alternate discussion point than the only narrative they're going to give. If you don't present an alternative, then they're only going to hear one side. Guns are bad, guns are bad, guns are bad. That's all they're ever going to hear. And they will internalize that as they grow older, and suddenly they'll say, well, yeah, guns are bad, and I just have to find the justification to clarify my feelings that guns are bad.
Sure.
So when they're talking to you, their mind is already made up. They're just trying to find the right words to prove themselves their emotional state that guns are bad.
Or never bother, just have that position, never question it, and just constantly parrot it.
Yes.
So Steadily is saying Science Channel also just did a gun documentary. I'm curious if that was pro or anti-gun. And then what is Science Channel? Is that a channel on cable, I guess?
Yes.
And then I don't know if I know stuff from the Science Channel. Is that like shows built for them, or they just run science-related stuff? It's not like I don't know if it's a big deal. But anyway, I'm not sure. I'm curious in seeing it. I've seen some of the stuff on whatever you call the big three networks, whatever they're called anymore. Occasionally, like somebody I know, an old person, will send me a link like, I saw guns on the news. And then I look at it and it's some horrible anti-gun crap on the big three networks. So I'm just curious. I don't think I've seen stuff from the Science Channel.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't had cable for 5 years now. Is when I pulled the plug and went, all of my information comes via the internet, whether it be entertainment, whether it be news, whether it be other hobbies.
Well, I don't know. We're talking about this gun myth, and we put these in once a week, right?
Right.
And this particular one is on a Second Amendment issue. I know some of them have been on like stupid caliber stuff or whatever, but if we're talking Second Amendment myths, I could see sinking my teeth into that a little bit, because something like this one, I think there's great value in us being able to keep our wits about us and be able to hold our own in a conversation. And by us, I mean anybody who's an advocate of the Second Amendment, to just have a little bit of experience with the various, actual pro gun-free zone arguments out there, because I really think there's an opportunity, since they're everywhere, and depending on situations and stuff, it could be, some of them. Anyway, I could see some real advantage of having people, having a resource for people to be able to come up with responses to some of these kind of things. And I know we've talked about that a little bit in Every Second Matters before, and probably in our Gun Channels University segments, and I think we did one, and we had talked about verbal judo. You remember that one? Or that concept?
I remember it, but I don't remember it in detail.
Did you guys, I'm guessing you didn't talk about it then, up a tactical response or down a tactical response when you were getting all trained up?
Not that topic specifically.
So are you familiar with it at all? It's basically the like disarming an opponent verbally.
An argument?
No, just disarming someone verbally, like a de-escalation. It's for cops and for people who might be in some kind of confrontation. It's just strategies to get somebody down from angry and violent to just pissed or whatever, you know, so that you can avoid confrontation.
In my Masada U class, we did.
What's that?
To de-escalate personal interactions.
They did that in your Masada U class?
Yes. Now, maybe it was one of those off the syllabus things. I don't know, but we did.
Yeah, I don't remember doing a heck of a lot of that, but I do know that there's a thing called verbal judo, and it has something to do with it. And although it's a little bit more for like that kind of situation, like an actual situation of a physical confrontation, like I say, I think that concept holds true to just be able to hold our wits about us if we're having a conversation with some people at a party or at an office or any kind of get together or, you know, family thing. And there's probably some, I know there's got to be ways to not only put a seed out there, but also do it in such a way that everybody doesn't walk away pissed. You know, so you can walk away, you can engineer an argument to end well, and then end in a way that people go back and question their position, perhaps. And anyway, I guess that's a long way of saying that's what I'd really like these things to be. If we could get to a point where we either were showed where somebody's already done that work, or get some people together who could put some effort into that, that would be great. And then, of course, pass that around to everybody. You know, some sort of an easy to read website or something. I think those kind of skills would go a long way, since there's so many people that have this passion to be an advocate for the Second or gun owners' rights or CCW or whatever it happens to be. And it can be frustrating when you have a conversation with somebody, sometimes repeatedly, right? We hear Smeggy talk about his people at work and stuff that he's never actually persuaded very many. Well, it's possibly he's persuaded people and we just aren't acknowledging it right now, but there's people that he has never persuaded, and it's, I imagine, could be frustrating after a while. So if there was some way to get a seed in there every once in a while so that you get a couple of wins, that's got to be much more encouraging to continue doing it. So I think that'd be neat to develop the segment into that. We're not going to be able to do it ourselves. So if anybody out there is listening, we don't have a huge viewership today, but I guess we'll pass that along. If anybody's interested in that, we've got an email address on websites at dailygunshow@gmail.com. And I'm not sure who to look for that. If it would be like an attorney type of thing, they must have something about debate or persuasion in their learnings, or maybe a psychologist or somebody who just knows the way people talk and the way people think.
Yeah, that'd be a great one that I'd be able to have some meat to put out there.
Yeah, I've seen a couple of videos on YouTube about how to win an argument with an anti-gunner, but I haven't really looked into them because I'm too lazy.
I'm just reading some of the comments. So I guess from that, we will keep going. Since we just solved that gun zones thing, none of us believe that gun zones make us safer, and it can be frustrating at times, but really all the facts are on our side, so I don't even know if they were to take that one anymore.
Well, I mean, it's just basic logic. I mean, it boggles my mind that actually believe that sign makes any kind of difference. If somebody is intent on doing harm, they're already willing to break the law in that they're willing to shoot people, and that a sign saying that, oh, it's illegal to bring a gun in here. Well, they're all doing, crimes. What do they care about one more crime?
Yeah, well, you're taking it way too literally, Bob. I mean, they're not putting that sign up for the criminal. You put signs up to let people know the condition of an area or whatever. So yeah, they're putting that sign up, like Anna I think was saying, to create some sort of perception that it's a safe place or something. And by removing the ability for regular people to carry them around, I guess they think that there's less chance of an accident or somebody leaving it lay around in a bathroom or on a food court or something. So they're not doing it for the bad guy to read it and go, oh, I shouldn't do bad. They're doing it as, oh, okay, good. This is an extra measure to keep those crazy yahoos who carry their guns around all the time out of here.
But that's just not logical.
I mean, it's not logical. I think that's exactly why they put it up. You think they seriously are? I mean, they could just put up a sign that just flashes when they're trying to put up just for the bad guy.
It doesn't make sense. So I mean, you can't. Like maybe it's just, it doesn't work the way there does. But I mean, I look at something like that and I just think, well, that's just letting bad guys know that everybody in there is unarmed. Like it just makes no sense.
No, I'm not trying to justify it. So I guess we'll move on. And I think I just did drop the link to the Gear website store. That's our store. So it's an online website and it's a store that we run. It's where we have everything from Every Second Matters, from gun channels, from the Daily Gun Show, from everything that we do. And what we'd like to remind people, we got a lot of people that like what we're doing online. That listen to the show. So we like to ask a favor and let people know of a function over at the store that you might not be aware of. You can leave us feedback though. If you've made a purchase before, if you're aware of a product or something. And like we mentioned plenty of times during this show, there's the interaction that we do as human beings with the websites and the internet, but then there's the interactions that are kept track of or recorded beneath the scenes or underneath the skin of a website. And that's the things like the number of comments that come in, the number of people that sign up as to be users, the number of pages they look at. And I'm sure you've seen, things in movies and stuff where they talk about all the metrics that help websites get ranked. And when we talk about it at the beginning of each show, we ask people to go in and utilize the different aspects of whatever platform you listen to us on. If you're listening to us on YouTube, we ask you to subscribe to the channel, to like it. The reason we do that is because that triggers things in the YouTube logarithm or whatever it is that basically tells them this is a channel, this is a video specifically that people are clicking on. So when time comes for someone to click on a video, they're going to be recommended that whole list of stuff on the side. It gives us a better chance of being recommended. So like that, when people use our website with our store, when you go in and you click on like, or if you leave reviews and comments, that will be seen by the internet as a whole. And when the time comes for it to decide which store to recommend to somebody, it gives our store a better chance of being recommended. So we benefit from that both in human interaction. When some other customer comes along and sees that a review was written, that's always nice to know that there's people happy with the product, and or if there was a problem and you're letting us know, then our reaction to it, that's always good for the potential customer. But then that behind the scenes, those links and those actions, the liking and the subscribing and all that, really does help out. So we appreciate that, and we'll ask the people again to head over to gearwebsites.com. And if you've bought something in the past, or if you're planning on buying something, remember to take the time to leave us a comment or write a review. It really does help us out, and we really do appreciate it.
Something that I bought a while back from there, and in fact, I still have it right next to me here today. I was using it a little bit earlier, is the thermosensitive coffee mug with the AKs. And actually, in addition to changing, it starts off where it's like a dark brown color when it's cold, and then when the coffee's hot, you can actually see the cup changes to white with black AKs on them. And it actually has a functional purpose, because I can tell when the color goes back to brown, it needs to be microwaved again. So it serves not only as a kind of a cool thing, it also serves a functional thing. And I got that over at your store. So I like it a lot, and I use it every day. on a tactical AK coffee cup.
Okay, so they had a question over on the gun channel side. I forgot who was asking, so it was going by pretty fast there. But somebody was asking about the. Oh, there it is. Squib was asking how to order gun channels logos off of there. I don't know if I even have them up there. So we've got patches, but as far as decals and stickers, we're going to be making some more of those. Sean Ponnery asked for us to make some reverse so that you can put them on the inside of a car window and not get them ruined on the outside. So we're going to do that. And then just a bunch of the decals in different sizes, probably in a variety pack, since I don't like to, I'm trying to reduce the number of items up there. So I don't want to put up a small and a large. I'll probably just do them together or something. But we'll put up a bunch and we'll make them as cheap as possible so that, because we know those are helping to advertise the place. So we'll definitely be adding up some decals sooner than later.
Do you, this is kind of going backwards in time, but did you see William Hendricks' comments over on the YouTube side about, he works in a gun-free zone?
So
what happened there?
You talking about the gun-free zones being another layer that the prosecutors can use to charge a criminal, like an additional crime when they commit a felony?
His comment was in regards to its lack of meaning anything. I'll just go ahead and read his comment briefly. He says, on Saturday morning, a man with a gun walked in, went into the dock, and pistol whipped a dock worker who apparently is the guy's daughter's boyfriend. You can follow that relationship. That, signs don't work. Ultimately, that's the beginning and end of the argument. Signs don't work.
Well, again, depends on what you say by work. If you're going to suggest that the effectiveness or the totality of a sign's use is to prevent things like a no parking sign, it doesn't actually stop people from parking, but it lets people know not to park there, number one. So somebody who just doesn't know now knows, right? It creates some perceptions, or leaves, like, I guess, the front of your store open so that you don't look like, it's just a free-for-all. And then if somebody does park there, it's an additional crime they can charge them with. You're not supposed to park here. You're in a no parking zone. You get an additional fine for breaking that law or whatever. So, I mean, the signs aren't just there to just try to repel a bad guy. They're there to add additional things. But I think the real mission of them is like what you were saying before, to get to the kids when they're young. Somebody was a psychologist or something, I assume, and I think a communist, literally, wanted to destructure the country or whatever. So they decided, by having kids have to indoctrinate themselves by walking past a damn sign with a gun with a line through it every single day of their lives, that's a great thing. I think that's a big reason for it. And there's no justification to it in logic or numbers. So it has to be a perception thing. And I think that's the real strategy, is to get kids indoctrinated when they're little, and pretty much everywhere they go, libraries, hospitals.
Yeah, that nonverbal message that gets pounded in every day visually.
And the compliance. There's so many people that just comply. They don't question. So,
yeah. And,
carry a gun here because there's signs. The signs even tell us what's right.
They hear from the media, guns are bad. They hear from many of their parents, guns are bad. And they hear from the schools, which have the majority of their attention for the day. Here they even see signs, guns are bad.
Right. So that'll take us into, I guess, the next segment of the show. So Killer Elite is the movie today. Every day we try to feature a different gun-related movie. Something, if you're older, you might not have seen in a while. Or if you're a youngin', something you ain't seen yet. Oh, okay. That's this one. So it's one of these, what's this guy's name? The Transporter. Jason Statham. Statham movie. And Clive Owen.
Robert Bryce. Jason Statham?
Yeah, and Robert De Niro. So, yes. I know I've seen it. Let's see. When his mentor is taken captive by a disgraced Arab sheik, a killer for hire is forced into action. His mission, kill 3 members of Britain's elite special air service responsible for the death of his sons. I know I've seen it. I'm gonna go to the images of it. See if anybody out there is mentioning it. Have you guys seen it?
I have not seen that movie.
You know, I faintly, like, it kind of sounds familiar, but it couldn't have been, it didn't seem to have made much of an impression on me. And
Yeah,
normally, Jason Statham, I like his movies. Usually lots of action.
De Niro's an anti-gun fucking asshole because he keeps making money off of gun movies. He runs around being anti-gun as he can be. I don't know about this Clive guy. He's been in plenty.
I think he was in Lock, Stock, and Three Smoking Barrels, maybe.
Well, yeah, he's been in plenty of gun movies. I just don't know if he's anti-gun or not.
Oh, I don't think so.
But all these pictures are like not really helping me. Oh, I kind of remember. Don't they leave the guy in the desert or something at the end, maybe? Or I guess I don't remember. Well, I'll have to go watch it again. That's the whole point of this segment. So we'll go over if anybody's talking about it. De Niro has a New York carry permit. Nice. Raphael's saying it's a good movie. Clay is saying De Niro's a son of a bitch. And they're talking about that situation in the Gun Channel side. So that was our movie of the day. You're welcome. So no thumbs because none of us can remember it really. But every day we try to talk about a movie. That's the whole point. I know I'm sitting there all the time thinking about what movie to watch on the Netflix or something. Well, not Netflix anymore, but Amazon or whatever.
It's definitely, I think, worth checking out just from the description. I mean, it's up to you whether you want to view it or not, but I think you should at least read the description. It certainly has a interesting description, as well as certainly has the potential from it has 2 out of those 3 actors are renowned actors. One being Clive and the other one being
Jason Statham.
Yeah, it's got a 6.5 out of 10, so it can't be. Obviously, we don't remember it, so it can't be big on anybody's thing.
Right.
But
it's not necessarily a stellar movie, but it's certainly, is it worth seeing? And I think it's at least worth checking out. And then, based off the description, if that's something that would interest you or not.
But if you don't, we don't care because we ain't getting paid to make you go see the movie. So we just try to talk about one every day.
Yep.
All right, so we're going to do a gun of the day. I guess I still have a bunch in here. Bob, if you just want to start doing guns of the day, let me know. Oops. But till then, I do have a bunch in here, I guess. I went to another playlist. I don't know what the theme's going to be, but I guess today we're looking at a Kahr PM9. So is this the car you had down?
No, I had the Kahr CM9, which is their entry level pistol line.
Oh, okay. The way they explained it to me one time is their low levels are stamped parts, their higher end level are milled parts, and then they have the same thing in polymer and in metal guns. That was a long time ago. I haven't really paid attention to cars since I met the guy. I met the guy at NRA show 2009. I don't know if this video is from there or not. I can't remember. No, this says SHOT Show 2010. So I met the guy though that runs the company in 2009, and looked at the guns because that was when the PMR 30 I think came out. Is that what it's called? No, the PM 30 380. Remember that tiny little 380? Looks really cool. It's tiny.
Yep.
Right around when that came out, and then no one ever recommended a Kahr, so I quickly lost interest in them. But anyway, we're talking about the PM9. So that's you're saying the higher end one, so she's probably telling me about it right now. Or is that a dude? Let's find out.
Drafts with the pull of the trigger. The trigger performs 2 actions. So
Sounds like a girl, right? So I don't know. If you want to watch the video, we'll tell you more about it. You guys shot a PM9 ever?
Nope.
I can't imagine it'd be that much different than a CM9.
I wish they were better. I would like to like it.
As far as the shooting part of it.
But if it's got nicer internals, the trigger might be nicer, I guess.
I mean, the trigger I had on my CM9 was very, very smooth. Very nice trigger.
I mean, I don't like the idea of a single stack really, but they are nice looking little guns. They seem well made. They're solid. I would like to like them more.
Yeah, and ultimately, although the manufacturer clearly states there is a break-in period, so you shouldn't expect it to be carryable in the first couple hundred rounds. So if that's not acceptable to you, then definitely don't buy that gun. If that is acceptable to you, then it might be worth a try. The other issue that I had with it, which was the distance from the trigger to the back strap of the gun, was a little bit too short to where I would pull my finger back, and the gun wouldn't necessarily always go back because I couldn't quite pull it back far enough. It needed to go back like another 32nd of an inch or whatever to actually release the striker. And so that was just physically an issue with the size of the gun being a little bit too small for the size of my hand. But that's going to vary from person to person. And I don't have that issue with a Glock 43, but it is a slightly bigger gun, not as small as the CN9.
And the sides probably aren't going to blow out of your Glock.
What's that?
And the sides probably won't blow out of your Glock.
I hope not.
All right, well, that was our gun of the day. If you have a suggestion for a gun of the day, you can always send that to Bob at dailygunshow@gmail.com, and he'll take it into consideration when we tell him about it because he never checks the email. I think we might about be there. Daniel mentioned a little while ago that we have the mugs. You can get to them over on gearwebsites.com. You can also get to the mugs for our show over at our website, which is dailygunshow.com. And it'll take you over to Cafe Press probably, or else Spreadshirt, one of these places that makes them on order or whatever on demand. So they don't exist until you order one. They just have our logo and they have a bunch of blank mugs. And when somebody orders one, they put it together and send it to you. Dano got that one that changes color, so it just looks like a black mug. Then when you put stuff in it, it turns into a white mug with our logo. So you got it with the Daily Gun Show mic and muzzle?
No, mine is the older one with the AKs.
Okay. I'm not sure what we've got over there, but we do have some logo gear. Right now we're out of the patches. Whenever I get the decal cutter going, we'll do some decals for the show. We'll probably make them, I don't know, one size, because I think this thing might get pretty detailed if I make them too small. But anyway, we'll come up with a bunch of different decals, and then we'll sew up some more patches next time the machine's running. But until then, we do have T-shirts and we have logo stuff. We get about $3 to $5 depending on what you buy where, and all that money goes towards shipping, which is great because we're about to start having a lot more shipping costs, and towards little things. We've been talking about getting some microphones. We were talking earlier today actually about mixers. Never Enough Ammo's not doing the show today, but one of these days on one of his nerd shows, we'll go in and talk about his setup again. He bought a microphone, he bought a little mixer board, and then that plugs into his computer so that he can plug in his sounds off of his telephone and mix it with his microphone, his fancy $40 microphone or whatever. And then, there's probably something to that. If we were all willing to up our game a little, the sound quality would be a little bit better. But instead of buying the mixing board, the guys were looking earlier today at some freeware that does the mixing stuff inside the machine, inside your computer, and it looked like it worked pretty good for free. So until then, we do appreciate everybody who supports the show. Obviously we get a couple of bucks when you buy one of our logo items, but also you're out there promoting the show. You have logo gear, so if you're at the office or at wherever it is, maybe the range or something where you're drinking that coffee, gives an opportunity for someone to say, hey, what's that all about? You can say, hey, it's the best podcast on the internet.
There you go.
All right, so that looks like we're wrapping up episode 321, right around the 90-minute mark, a little bit later. Not too bad. Tomorrow will be episode 322. I think Smeggy said he'll be back tomorrow, so have the full. Everybody will be here. We'll be doing Second Amendment issues. We'll be doing a Second Amendment update. We tried to talk about state every week, and tomorrow it's Kentucky, Dano's new home.
Kentucky?
And we'll be talking good idea, bad idea, turning guns into the police.
Turn it into me. I'll take care of them for you.
Now, where'd that come in from? Was it just from Bob turning in his gun to the police that we started talking about that? I know we started talking about that someday, and it got pretty heated. So
Yeah.
I don't know if it'll be as heated. I don't know who all was on the other side. I think it was Z, though. So I don't know if we'll still have the same debate we would have. Anyway, we'll find out what happens with that. And then on Tuesdays, they do the hashtag Daily Gun Show showdown over on Instagrams. So if you want to participate in that, and using the Instagrams, start hashtagging some interesting pictures with hashtag Daily Gun Show. Then on Tuesdays, we go through them, see who's been posting stuff over the week. And then, I just thought of something. I'm going to start putting the name or the number into the next week, so I don't have to look it up every week. This made the show 10% more efficient. Anyhow, we'll compare the pictures that have come up during the week, and somebody wins something awesome.
Yep.
Then, of course, we get our gun shop of the day and our gun show of the day and everything else.
So we pick them, you take them. You take them, we pick them. Something like that.
You pick them, okay, well. All right, so with that, I think I'm done. We'll see you back here tomorrow, 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 Pacific.
Yep. Y'all be prepared now.
Yeah. All right. So we like to end our show with a quote. This one is who is this? Can't remember who it is from. Anyway, before that, though, I want to remind everybody, please like, share, and subscribe to Daily Gun Show, or Daily Gun Show. Helps us out, and we want to get the word out and maybe get a few more people watching. So anyway, quote today: "A woman who demands further gun control legislation is like a chicken who roots for Colonel Sanders." And on that note, I'd like to say thanks everybody for watching and listening, and we'll see you all tomorrow.
The guys and gals of gunwebsites.com encourage you to take a CCW class every year, practice at least once a month, and carry every day. Thanks for watching gunwebsites.com.
All right, head over to the lobby, and Matt's got a chat coming up tonight. Or no, sorry, Matt doesn't. Hawaii Volcano Squad will be doing his show a little bit early tonight.
Yes. I didn't notice he was back in the chat. That's why I missed it.